Hey guys, Scott here. Hope you're good. Hope you're staying safe in this crazy, crazy world we're living in right now. Um, before we get into the video today, I just want to draw your attention quickly to my community tab of my channel. I've got a poll going there at the moment, and basically every 6 months or so I sit down on my channel and I review it and I look at, how can I improve the content going forwards? And I just want to get your opinion, essentially. You know, what videos do you prefer? Do you prefer my original songs? Do you prefer it when I do covers, or do you prefer more videos like this where I'm just chatting on camera, vlogging, talking about stuff, doing studio tours, that sort of thing? It will take 2 seconds of your time, and it'll really help me out as I plan the next 6 months. Head over to the YouTube channel, go into the community tab, and tell me which one you prefer there on the poll. Thanks, guys. Let's get into the video. Right, okay, so let's get into it. So today, what I want to do is I want to take you through the stories behind some of my instruments, because there's some interesting stories there which are part of my musical journey, and I want to share that with you guys. And I'm going to take you through my stringed instruments today, and we're going to start off with my latest addition, which is my banjo. Here we go. So right here is my banjo. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. That machine head right in the middle threw me quite a lot as I was starting to learn banjo, because I kept going to tune the top string on my banjo, not realizing, actually the top string is halfway down the neck. It's so weird, but yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful instrument. I always wanted a banjo, and when I was recording the third album, there's a song on it called The Sheeptown Kid and His Trip to Jail, which has sort of got a Johnny Cash-esque sort of country, sort of that, you know, galloping train sort of sound. And when I was recording it, I was like, it's missing something. And I thought about it for a long time, and I thought, it needs banjo. That's what it needs. So I put out a call on Facebook, said, hey, does anyone have a banjo? And my friend Paul, who played on the second album, Have Fun Being Single, he was like, hey, I've got a banjo, name your price. And so I bought this banjo off Paul, and it's fantastic. I'm still learning a lot. You have to use thumb picks on the banjo, and I'm still getting the hang of it. I haven't actually played in a while, but hopefully I'm going to do a new video soon where I play the banjo for you guys. So yeah, thank you, Paul, for the banjo. I love this beast. Okay, so next up we have my bass guitar. This is Curiosity. It's a Gear for Music bass guitar, so it's nothing fancy. It's a very standard bass guitar, and I got this bass in Scotland in 2012. And essentially what happened was I went to a little haberdashery with my uncle and aunt who I was staying with at the time, which was called Curiosity, and there were a whole bunch of instruments there that I thought, I'll give them a try. I haven't played guitar since last week, so I'll have a little jam. And the guitars weren't all that great, but they had a couple of cool bass guitars, one of which was like a flying fee bass guitar, which was really fun to play, but it sounded terrible. But what happened was there was a cluster of Scottish girls, probably about my own age, who were sort of watching in the corner, and they were just like, he's really good, and I had a bit of a crowd going, and so I thought, I need to keep playing, and so I was like, I'll try that black bass up there and play that. And so I started just jamming on the bass. I had a little mini gig going in this haberdashery, essentially, and the guy who runs the shop was just like, you sound good on that. I was like, I do sound good, don't I? Just feeding my ego, and he was just like, for £100 that's yours. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, maybe I will. And then I walked out of this haberdashery with this bass guitar that I really didn't need at the time. I was like halfway through university. I needed to save my money. But I ended up buying Curiosity. I'm so glad looking back now, because I've used Curiosity on the third album, on the new album, on all the stuff I've been doing here in the studio. So it's really handy having a bass guitar. Eventually I want to get a bass with a more refined sound to it. You know, my friend Tom is hopefully going to lend me a bass guitar that's going to live here in the studio, and we're going to get it all done up. So that's exciting. But yeah, was I conned into buying this? I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit. But this is curiosity. I love this bass. Next up, we have my ukulele, sausage fingers. Okay, so I love the ukulele. It's a beautiful instrument. Every year on YouTube, I aspire to do Ukulele Month in August. So in about a month or so, we're going to be getting it on with Ukulele Month, which is going to be really fun. And I taught ukulele for several years. So whenever I hold this ukulele now, I feel like I'm about to sit down and teach a bunch of 7-year-olds how to play. And yeah, teaching ukulele in primary schools was difficult because the kids they were so sweet. You know, they really gave it their all, and they were so much fun, so full of life and energy. But their fingers are so little. Like having to press down on the ukulele strings was just too hard for them. It hurt their fingers, and so they cry. And so I was like, how do I do this job? So eventually I stopped doing it, but it was a fun time for a while, and I got better at ukulele. Anyway, the name behind Sausage Fingers, I got this ukulele just before I got my bass guitar Curiosity, and I got it at a guitar shop called Hayward's in Winchester, where for my entire duration living in Winchester, I would just constantly take my guitars there for repair, buy my strings there, and I bought Sausage Fingers there. And I'd been writing songs on ukulele after a breakup around that time. And so that ukulele was very cheap. And so I thought, if I'm going to be writing more, heartbroken songs, I need a proper ukulele. So I got this one. It's a Lanakai ukulele. I don't know if that's a great brand, but it plays beautifully. It's electric, so I can plug it in. I have played it at a few gigs live, and really I feel ukulele works best when you have a bass behind it, because it's so high end. With acoustic, it's you get some of those low mids, so it's okay, but with ukulele by itself, it's maybe a bit tinny. I think it works better with some accompaniment. Anyway, I was playing a gig in Winchester, and I was playing ukulele, and I name all my instruments clearly, and so apart from banjo doesn't have a name yet, but I said to the crowd, hey guys, I need a name for my ukulele because I name all my instruments, so what should my ukulele be called? And some guy at the back in the shadows just screamed, Sausage Fingers! And so from there on out, this ukulele has been named Sausage Fingers. So there we go. I love you, Sausage Fingers. Ukulele Month coming soon. Okay, now we start getting quite personal with the stories. Okay, so when I was at school, I didn't have a good time at school. I got kicked about a lot, and I just hated it. I stopped caring in my second year of secondary school, which was year 8 or so. And I just spent all my time in class writing song lyrics, and I constantly getting songbooks taken away, and I just wasn't doing well at school because I just didn't care. It just, learning geography and learning history and all these things just didn't mean anything to me. I was obsessed with music, throughout my teenage years, and so I just wanted to spend all my time doing it. I didn't want to be at school. I just wanted to be at home writing songs. And eventually teachers got called in. My parents got called in to talk to the teachers, and they said, look, he's doing terribly. All he does is write song lyrics. Literally, they showed my parents just a big pile of songbooks they confiscated, and they said, something's got to change. This just isn't good enough. And so my dad, who we didn't live with at the time, he basically came round one day, and he was just like, look, you need to crack on with your schoolwork, otherwise, that's it with the music, you're done. So you just need to hunker down, start working hard, and put this music thing aside because it's not going to lead anywhere. And I just bluntly said no. I said, this is my life. This making music is everything to me. I don't care about this other stuff, and I don't care what you do. I'm going to keep writing songs and playing them to people because I think that's what I'm born to do. And he tried taking my guitar from me, literally tried ripping it out of my arms. I was cradling it. He was trying to take it out of the house. It was very, very dramatic. And I didn't see my dad for several months. It was rough, And I was 13 at the time. I turned 14, and I started seeing my dad again. And I still was doing terribly at school. Nothing had improved there, but my relationship with my dad had soured, And so he took me to my guitar lesson on my birthday, and he opened up the boot, and there was a golden guitar case, and he said, open it up, and inside was this Gibson Les Paul Studio. And I'd always said, I had an Epiphone Les Paul at the time, but I said, I really want a Gibson, I really want an official Gibson one day. And here was a Gibson Les Paul, and it was mine. And and I thought there's got to be some catch to this. This has got to be, if you start working hard at school, then this is yours. But it wasn't. He just said, look, I understand now that music is really important to you, and so I just wanted to honour that by giving you a tool to do it better. So very thankful to my dad for that. But yeah, there's more to the story, as we'll see with the next guitar. Okay, so this right here is my Fender Telecaster Deluxe. It's a beautiful guitar, and in a lot of ways it is a lighter version of the Les Paul, because what I learned over the next few years of playing gigs, what I learned was that Les Pauls are really heavy to play live. Beautiful rock sound, but just a really, really heavy guitar. And I loved jumping about, flinging myself on stage. And I was just getting really tired. And so I basically needed a lighter version of what I already had. And so I had my eyes on a Fender Telecaster Deluxe. Basically, this guitar is kind of the opposite of the last story, in that basically I was told, if you actually hunker down and do well at school and finish with a couple of GCSEs, that you can go to college with, then, we'll get you the Telecaster Deluxe. And so I worked really hard. I didn't want to. I was still in detention a lot during my last year of school because, again, there was just classes that I just didn't care for, like PE. I was like, why am I bothering with this? So I would usually sit on the sidelines on a bench, eating a sandwich, writing some song lyrics, and the teacher would constantly run by and be like, Scott, what are you doing? Go get changed. I know you have your kit. And I was like, nope. And he's like, right, you get in detention. And so I was still in detention, but I started trying in other subjects. So I finished with some GCSEs and got to go to college. And throughout college, I played this guitar. And this guitar is Becky, because the girl I fancied at college was called Becky. So there you go. I have not seen her in years. Right, finally we come up to my last guitar, and the guitar that probably means the most to me, the guitar I play the most, the guitar that actually feels less like guitar and more just like an extension of myself. It feels part of me, and that is Lucille. This is my acoustic guitar. It's a Yamaha PX500, and yeah, there's a lot to this guitar. I've beaten this guitar to death since I got it in late 2006. I was in my last year of school, and I played my first ever paid gig during that time, and it was sort of October, November time that happened. And at the same time, we got to know one of the guys who worked at Anderton's, the guitar shop in Guildford, and he said, hey, come by one day and I'll give you a discount on one of the guitars. So with the £30 I made from the gig, the discount that he gave me, and trading in my Epiphone Les Paul, I managed to get my acoustic, because I was playing a proper acoustic guitar without any electrics in it up to that point, and that was just difficult because I was starting to discover something about the acoustic guitar that just really spoke to me at that point. And it wouldn't be till years later where I finally went, no, this is definitely me, more than electric guitar. But yeah, there you go. Really, all I paid for this guitar was the £30 that I got from my first gig playing at the Grey Horse in Kingston. So, booyah. And yeah, over the years, I've really roughed Lucille up. You can see she's missing a lot of her colouring on the front, just because I used to use really thick Jim Dunlop guitar picks, big, thick green ones, and I was snapping strings every show in my early years of playing solo gigs, and just absolutely thrashing the hell out of this beast. And I slowly chipped away the woods, and so I had to start moving down to a lower gauge guitar pick. So I use a pick that's not too floppy but not too thick, now sort of in the middle, so I still get a bit of crunch. But yeah, like I've really beaten her up over the years. There's something about acoustic guitar that really speaks to me. I think that earthy sounds, and also just the fact I sort of play acoustic a bit more like electric. I really thrash it. I don't play it gently. I don't think acoustic guitars should be played gently. I think they're made to really be just like absolutely just thrashed, because you really hit a power chord, or a big bar chord on an acoustic guitar with a massive strum, and it just sounds thunderous, and it's just huge. So I just love that, and I love the fact that I don't have to plug it into play. So it's been my main instrument ever since, this lovely acoustic guitar. I really don't know what I'd do without her. The name Lucille, obviously, it's named after a famous guitar, clearly, but I didn't actually name it after that. Growing up, obviously, in the 90s and, the early 2000s, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was like a big thing, I don't know if people still watch it, but just I love that show and I watched it all the time. And one of my favourite episodes, you may have seen this one, is where Will goes to the pool hall and he's doing really well until he plays this guy who basically just mops the floor with him, and he ends up losing Uncle Phil's car. And so Uncle Phil's learns of this, and he's like, right, I'm going down there and getting my car. And Uncle Phil starts playing this guy and starts losing more and more and more money to him because he just sucks, and then the guy's just like, right, I want something bigger and better, if we're gonna play again, because I've taken all your money. And so Uncle Phil's like, yeah, okay. And then he turns to Jeffrey the butler, and he goes, Jeffrey, and he goes, yes sir, and he goes, bring out Lucille. And Jeffrey just whips out this pool cue from his jacket. He's just been waiting the whole time, assembles it, and Uncle Phil just mops the floor with this pool hall guy and gets his car back. And I just always loved that scene, because when I watched it, I just didn't see it coming. It was just, yeah. And so when I finally got my acoustic guitar, the guitar that when I whip it out, that sounded wrong. When I whip this acoustic guitar out at shows, I'm there to do business. I'm there to absolutely kick it. So there you go. There's the story of Lucille. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I've enjoyed talking about it. And yeah, each of my instruments has a history and a story behind it. And I don't have a name for my banjo yet. So if you've got a cool name for the banjo, then please leave it down in the comments, and the best name will win. The name I like the most, essentially. So hope you guys are doing good. Stay awesome, and we shall see you soon. Peace.